Hey everybody, it's Rockula, and welcome back to Rockula Retrospective. This is the weekend full review of the Season 5, Episode 11 of The Walking Dead called The Distance. Right out of the gate, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to make this episode, or I don't know how much time it's going to take up because I wrote a lot of stuff. So this might end up being a two-part episode. And I hope that you can see it in your heart to click through to the next part if it does in fact turn out to be a two-part episode. Because of course I still have the copyright strike 15-minute restriction on my account. So what I want to do real quick is get to some of the people that have been regular contributors in the comment sections of my videos, and they're pretty much the people that have kept me going throughout this whole season and making me want to make more videos. We've got the guy that's been here the longest, Olivella0513. We got Jose Manuel, and then we got fellow reviewers Kev Says So, Make a Path Presents, and the Raving Reviewer. And so thank you very much to you guys for participating down in the comments section. I really like to have a lively debate down there. And yeah, please comment in the comments section. Let's dive right into the episode here. And once again, I try not to do a recap because I already did a recap in the on Sunday night when I did a reaction review, and that's a chronological thing. And this is going to be more, it's going to try to stay in chronological order. But, I wrote this all after watching the show for the fourth time. So now I've got a lot of things that I want to talk about. First of all is Aaron's behavior. Now, this is the main reason why I'm convinced that Rick continued to distrust Aaron. Because, he's acting too eager, and he says he's been in all these very violent situations with guns pointed in his face. But if you want my opinion, and I'm sure you do because you're watching this video, if I was Aaron, I'd come in right away and say, "Hi, I'm Aaron. No bullshit. This is what's going on. I got one person waiting for me. Here's what I've got for you. Here's what I'm not going to tell you. Here's what I am going to tell you. And we'll be straight." Second thing, and he was non-cooperative the whole time that Rick was asking him questions, and he should have just answered everything straight off the bat and would not have given Rick any chance to doubt him. So how could all of this been alleviated? By one simple thing, and it's something that I had been saying since, we wondered who put the water in there and is it poisoned. The one way to prove that you're a trustworthy person is to, once you have, you're in the barn and everything and you're making your pitch, you ask them if you can drink one of the bottles of water, and they can hand you any bottle that you want. And that would convince them that you did exactly what you said you wanted to do, which was give them free water. Look, I know that you need conflict to flesh out an episode. And let's face it, if there was nobody doing stupid stuff and acting weird and all of that, behavior that you don't think about from the outside, this show would be a lot shorter and there'd be 26 survivors. So I understand that you need some conflict, but come on, let's make things a little bit more believable on that one. And I didn't think that it was necessary for Rick to knock him out. I think at that point he had shown that he was willing to do pretty much anything to earn their trust. When Aaron talked about roamers, I honestly thought that the roamers were a name for a gang, like they gave a gang. Perhaps it's that elusive wolves gang out there, but I thought that roamers was a gang, but that's what they're calling walkers, and I didn't find that out until later on in the episode. But one of the things that he said is that he'd been watching them, and at first I thought he was mocking them, saying, "Oh yeah, you didn't even notice a pack of roamers." But now I understand. He says, "You guys are so good at surviving that you gauged when it was time to fight the walkers," and blah blah blah. And the other thing that he says to him is that he admires the fact that they didn't turn on each other when things got tough. So I really do believe that this guy is sincere, but at the same time, he could have taken a little bit more believable path. Well, I don't know if Aaron not knowing how to act towards Rick is a common sense moment, but I do know this one, the minor common sense moment, and it's something that it's more of a preference to me, but common sense dictates that if you're out on the road, I agree that Glenn has got a pretty good seasoning for walker stomping, but I really think that if you're going out on a reconnaissance mission, the guy to put in the front telling everybody what to do has got to be Abraham. When Michonne brings up the question of shooting whomever they come across and what if they're just like us, and Maggie agrees, and when she remarks that Aaron saw all of their deeds, I don't know necessarily that she meant it any way other than metaphorically, because yeah, you might be able to tell that Gabriel was a priest because he had the collar even though the white's missing, but they didn't see all the other stuff that they did. But what she is saying is that he saw that in their character. We come to the part where Aaron is trying to get Rick to give Judith the applesauce so she'll shut up. And now is not the time to get all icky about something. It's like, oh, I hate applesauce. So what? I don't care if it's haggis. You eat it to prove that it's not poisoned, whether you like it or not. And it's just kind of stupid that he'd rather take a punch in the face than eat applesauce. When they get to the cars in the RV, we hear the twig snap, and here's where something that I thought was kind of funny, where it was a bit of a reversal, because whenever you hear the twig snap, it's walkers. And then the human comes out and says, "Hey, I'm a human and I'm not going to try to hurt you," but they're actually relieved that it was a walker this time, or walkers. So it's kind of funny how they juxtapose that thing against itself. What's up with Abraham and Rosita? You notice the tension that happened when he looked over at his shoulder at her, and then when they get into the RV, he asks about whether she thought he was ever going to hurt her, and she says, "It's not you." And so that means that it's not in you. So what's the issue? Another tactical point that I have an issue with is that you never discuss your internal politics in front of a prisoner. I mean, I understand that Rick is not trying to be the Ricktatorship, and he still thinks that everybody has an equal say in this, but at the same time, for God's sakes, you don't show your divisions within your ranks in front of someone who is a potential enemy, because they've shown that they can cause internal rifts with your group if they know who's against who. So I just thought that was a really dumb idea. But we get Rick and Michonne outside talking about Rick's sincerity about going to what we know as Alexandria. And he brings up the fact that you didn't hear anything outside of Terminus, and you didn't hear anything outside of Woodbury. And he implies that those places were silent because they had evil things going on within the walls. But I don't know. I think that if it's a valid point that silence is golden, and if the more silent you are, the less you attract attention. There's also a little subtext of that conversation where Rick almost implies, and I don't know if I got it, and you can tell me if you got this too, but he almost implies, of course I'm going to go there and check it out and look at it, but if I don't like it, he almost acts like he'll separate from the group and say, if you want to go in there, fine, but I'm taking Carl and Judith with me. So that's something to be pondered, but I don't think it's going to flesh out. Back to Aaron's behavior, and people have remarked that the license plates scene kind of humanizes Aaron and makes him a regular person, but it could be some innocent hobby that you've got collecting, or it could be the license plates of the people that you've murdered. And suspicion is coming up from Michonne's end now when she asks Aaron the three questions, and she asks him why there's no people in the pictures. And I'm not buying that excuse. First of all, he was thinking it up on the fly. And second, here's another common sense thing. I don't think that took place in 1996. You're telling me that the pictures didn't come out? When's the last time you saw a film camera? You can tell me that they have all of the, they've got houses, they've got food, they've got surgeons, but they don't have digital cameras. Why didn't he bring a digital camera with pictures of the Alexandria safe zone on it? So him not being able to explain that does still sow some suspicion. And now here's the most obvious common sense moment. So this will be the common sense moment of the episode. And then that is, if your engine can't start because it's clogged up with walker flesh, I seriously doubt that you're going to help it get started again by pulling out a couple of arms and legs. So at this point, I'm still thinking that there might be a gang out there stalking. And when I saw the flare, and when Aaron saw the flare, I thought that he was seeing a gang flare about to attack our group, but it turns out that it was Eric, and he was in trouble, and that's why Aaron tripped out so hard and ran away. When we're lost in the dark and Glenn finds Aaron and rescues him, he confirms to us now that he is on the side of, yes, he would save those people, and yes, he wouldn't shoot those people, and he really does want to live without killing people. And I also want to point out that Glenn is probably one of the few people in this group that has never killed a person. And of course, here we go. We've got the big moment where Eric and Aaron kiss. There seemed to be the predictable freak out on Twitter, but when I looked around the internet and all of the reviewer community, nobody really seemed to have much of a problem with it. I mean, I can understand being uncomfortable with watching two homosexuals kiss, but for fuck's sake, man, you're watching The Walking Dead. All of the horrible thing. I mean, they try to rape Carl. I don't see people on Twitter going, I'm not going to watch The Walking Dead anymore because some guy tried to rape a male child. But two dudes kiss, and all of a sudden, I'm not watching The Walking Dead anymore. So, as long as there ain't children or animals involved, it's the 21st century. Everybody has earned the right to be themselves. Rick is still holding the hard line about Aaron and Eric. And then Glenn steps up, and he's becoming the perfect Riker to his Picard here. He feels the pulse of the group, and he's the kind of the funnel. It looks like Michonne has become the what do we call it? The conscience of the group, but Glenn is the barometer, and I think that he's become a really good number one for Rick, and he's not gonna let Rick's hardness get in the way of him possibly going to Alexandria. So after Rick gives up, we head towards Alexandria. We stop for a second because the battery dies, and Rick goes off and hides a gun off near in a blender and has a J on the handle. Can somebody please tell me what that is? It's not Aaron's gun because Aaron's was a revolver. Now we got the big resolve at the end of the episode here. They arrive at Alexandria, and Rick hears the sound of children playing, and his heart softens like the Grinch. And so that sets the tone for what we're supposed to expect in the next episode. So let's talk about that. Here's my big question. We have 2 episodes left, and mind you that the last episode is going to be 90 minutes long. Is it possible for this situation to be like Aaron says it is? If Rick and company go in and it is a safe zone and everything's hunky-dory, how are they going to end the season? Do they dare to end the season on a high note of hope without some big bad looming over the horizon? Or what are they going to have to do? So tell me what you think down in the comments. And thanks very much for watching. And I'll come back Sunday night. Maybe I'll have meat pie. Maybe I'll have some other people, but we'll have the Sunday night reaction review for episode 12. I'm Rockula, and this is Rockula Retrospective.